Today, Sri Narendra Damodar Das Modi, the Prime Minister of India, completes 75 years of very significant, dramatic, legendary existence on the earth. 75 years, on the 75th anniversary of one's birth, is ascribed special significance in the Hindu vision of life. On this occasion, I remember a good friend of mine who is now no more. It was from him that I became aware of this aspect of the Hindu vision of life. Uh, he told me his name, I must mention his name, Vishnu Hari Dalmia, who was at that time the president of Vishwa Hindu Parishad. Someone I happened to come to know at very close quarters and develop for him a particular affection which he reciprocated to a far greater extent that I could. So, irrespective of what other people might think of him based on my experience, I entertained very fond memories of Vishnu Hari Dalmia. It was he who told me that the 75th anniversary of a person's birth has very special significance in the Hindu vision of life. He invited me to visit him on his 75th birth anniversary, but unfortunately, due to some sudden emergencies, I had to come to Kerala and I missed the day. So when I went back to Delhi, he was again eager to meet me, and I went to visit him, and he told me that he was very keen that I should visit him on that day and say a prayer for him. It touched me very deeply, and I did pray with him and pray for him. God bless his memories, and I cherish his memories. So let's get to this bottom line information that it's a very significant birth anniversary for our Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Now, a particular question arises. What will he do on this day? How will he honor his own birthday? There are several options before him. For example, the question in which the country as a whole is very keenly interested is whether or not he will apply to himself the golden rule that apparently seemed inflexible to people like L.K. Advani, Murli Manohar Joshi, etc., who were all promoted to the Margadarshak Mandal, which is a very dignified way of kicking a person out of your way. So, when Modi decided that the 75th year, or completing 75 years, a person should retire from active public life and cease to hold positions, whether he would apply that himself or not, is a question in which there is keen national interest. Because depending on whether he complies with the rule enunciated by himself, the image of Sri Narendra Modi will either take a beating or attain further luster, further sheen, or further glory. And I wish that the latter would be the case, not necessarily because I want him to demit office, but because I want to see his name etched in the history of India in better colors than at present. Now, the one thing I want to mention to him, I don't know if he'll ever get to see this video, is that what is more significant is not the gravity of the office a person comes to occupy or the chair that he wins for himself. What is of far greater consequence especially for him and others like him, is what he does with that office. Because it's a very fundamental lesson, though mostly ignored by people in power, that the seat of power that you get is also a mechanism for exposing you. How you cope with power is the most authentic way of expressing the truth of who you are. If a person allows himself to be carried away with the attainment of power, and if he allows power to take possession of him like a demon taking possession of a human being, let's call this power possession as on the analogy of demon possession. So, if a person who occupies an important seat allows himself to be power possessed, then he proves that he was less than the office that somehow descended on him. He was smaller than the office. And Shakespeare deals with such a character in one of his great tragedies, Tragedy of Macbeth, where Macbeth wins a great office. He becomes the king. He becomes the king by killing the former king Duncan. And thereafter, of course, what happens to Macbeth is so wonderfully portrayed by Shakespeare in that great tragedy, Macbeth. And there I remember uh, these lines: new honors come upon him like a giant's robe upon a dwarfish thief. New robes, new honors come upon him like giant's robes upon a dwarfish thief. That is, the honors that come upon and descend upon somebody uh, are far in excess of what a person's merit is. So he is much smaller than the honors that come upon him, or honors that are conferred on him. For example, uh, many of his ardent admirers think that Modi is divine. In fact, he himself lent credence to this by stating in a stage managed press interview that he believes that he is a special creation of the Paramatma, and Paramatma has sent him to the earth on a special mission. So he claims to have attained the status of divinity. Now, there is no problem in making such a claim. In fact, unlike others, I rejoiced when he made this claim, because the best thing that can happen to a country, particularly a country like India, is to have a person at the helm of affairs who has divine, divine attributes. Now, in the interest of clarity, let me mention these divine attributes. They are love, truth, justice, compassion. Very easy to remember. The four irreducible, universally acclaimed attributes of God are love, boundless love, love that accepts no label, love that is not limited by any label or any consideration, unmodified, unqualified, unfettered love, supreme love. Therefore, if Modi is really divine, he would love every citizen without any label of discrimination. It's up to him to prove whether he has this attribute or not. Then, unwavering, absolute commitment to truth. So, if Modi is really divine, he must endeavor to embody truth. He must become the truth. So, he cannot allow his personality to be tainted even unwittingly by the remotest shadow of untruth. So, that's the second challenge before Modi. The third is absolute commitment to justice. If you're committed to truth, you will also be committed to justice. And if you're committed to justice, you will necessarily be committed to truth. It cannot be otherwise. So, would he endeavor to do justice to every Indian citizen under his care? And the fourth and the final attribute is compassion. Now, that's where Manipur will always stand as a big question mark before Narendra Modi on the pages of history. Whether he realizes it or not, I tell you, in course of time, Narendra Modi's tenure will be assessed on the basis of just one small state, and that's the irony. Manipur, Manipur, Manipur. As years go by, the size of that question will continue to balloon. Manipur, Manipur, Manipur. So, my only humble recommendation out of love to Narendra Modi is I thank you for realizing that you are a very special creation of the Paramatma. That's something absolutely great. There's nothing that compares with it. It is up to you to honor the implications of that inner revelation, which I honor and I cherish. So, may I request you, Mr. Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister of India, whom I love and respect simply because you are the Prime Minister of India. I'm a Democrat. I am duty bound to accept, love, and revere anyone who becomes the Prime Minister of India because it's a constitutional responsibility for me. I'm a Democrat. Therefore, as a Democrat, and out of love for the Prime Minister, I humbly and firmly recommend to him to honor the inner revelation that he has very kindly revealed to the whole of India, that he is a manifestation of the divine. So, Mr. Narendra Modi, would you, on your 75th anniversary of your birth, commit yourself to upholding these four divine attributes? Let me again mention them because it's so very important that there's clarity on this. If you believe, and I'm sure you believe, otherwise you wouldn't have revealed it to the whole nation. If you believe that you're indeed a special manifestation of the divine, you have to redeem that inner revelation by committing yourself to love, truth, justice, compassion. Now, if you fail by these four standards, Mr. Narendra Modi, Mr. Prime Minister, history will judge you and condemn you. The people of India will judge and condemn you. It cannot be escaped. I know these are not happy words to hear, but these are words you need to hear because these are the words of truth uttered out of love and respect for you. You have still time. You have still time. You have still time to honor and redeem this. Therefore, unlike others, I do not want Sri Narendra Damodar Das Modi to demit office today. I want him to continue as the Prime Minister of India because he needs opportunities to redeem this insight, this tremendous revelation that he is a manifestation of the divine. He has not been able to do that till date. Till the 75th anniversary of his birth, Sri Narendra Damodar Das Modi has not been able to do anything to validate and redeem the true implications of this profound and incomparable revelation that he is a true manifestation of the divine. He needs further opportunities. And therefore, I would request him to continue in office, but to do so only in order to redeem this great revelation. The whole country will rise in respect and applause, say 3 years from now. And thank you for being truly a manifestation of the divine. There is a further thing I want to say. Even as I say this, I also feel sorry for Narendra Damodar Das Modi. I tell you why. It's out a small sense of history. In order to help you understand the context of this sadness that I feel in this context, let me mention two great kings in the past. They're all very well known to you. One is Alexander the Great, and the other is perhaps not so well known to you, but you would know him all, certainly, Nero. the Caesar of Rome, Nero, Nero. Why do I remember them? Alexander the Great had the tremendous advantage of a great tutor, and you know that tutor, a great name in philosophy, Aristotle. Would you believe it? Alexander the Great, the young lad, was educated by none other than Aristotle, because Alexander's father, Philip of Macedonia, was very particularly keen that his son should be properly educated. Because after all, the, the enlightenment of the ruler is of tremendous material importance and interest to a country. Allow your country to be ruled by a fool or a rogue, your country will perish. This wisdom was available, say, 2,300, 400 years ago. The second name, Nero, is a maligned name, a cursed name, a name that is rarely uttered because he fouled and defiled the office. His name was Nero. Nero had a great tutor, will you believe it? His name was Seneca. Seneca, of all people. But in spite of that, Nero earned for himself a disrepute which is rarely matched by others. Why do I mention these two monarchs, kings? Because unlike them, Modi does not have a good friend, philosopher, and guide. You think of three people, Alexander the Great, Nero, and Narendra Modi. And then look at the mentors they have. Aristotle, Seneca, Amit Shah. That's the problem. I don't say this in a manner the intent of discrediting Amit Shah. But I want to say this, that Amit Shah is not somebody, in spite of all his Chanakya qualities and his kind of awesome capacity to work, his political acumen, and whatever it takes to succeed politically, he is the embodiment of that. But he cannot be a friend, philosopher, and guide to Narendra Modi if he is to honor, validate, authenticate his inner intuition that he is a special manifestation of God. There, Amit Shah is not a help but a hindrance, not a blessing but a bane. He needs somebody better. But, Narendra Modi cannot and will not get somebody of the caliber of Aristotle and Seneca from India or from any other country in the world as of now, because humankind has declined. The stature of human beings has declined. In fact, if you examine the whole of the 20th century literature of every kind, not merely creative literature, philosophical works, sociological works, anthropological works, psychological works, what have you, you will find that consistently in all of them there is this sad realization of the dwindling of the human stature. Today you look around and look around in vain to see a great person. Look at the President of the United States of America. No further argument is needed. So will Narendra Modi get, particularly from the ranks of the Sangh Parivar, a friend, philosopher, and guide like Alexander the Great had, like Nero had? The only person who actually could have served in that capacity was Mohan Bhagavat, the Sarsanjalak of the RSS. But is he up to the task? Is he really up to the task? Well, I leave answering that question to all of you. When I think of Narendra Modi in this light, I experience a tremendous inner sadness. And I ardently wish that through the remainder of his tenure in office, he would bring about a substantial transformation of the present state. And he would do everything possible, everything possible to prove that indeed he is a specially anointed manifestation of God or Paramatma sent on a spiritual mission to transform India into a nation of righteousness. Who wouldn't applaud him if that were to be the case? But if he continues to be in the present state, I'm afraid history will judge him harshly. And I sincerely wish that that wouldn't be the case. So I greet Sri Narendra Damodar Das Modi on this very auspicious day in his life and wish him all the very best, the absolute best. And the absolute best, particularly in relation to the main stream of thought that I shared with you. I wish him the absolute best in relation to the very historic, epoch making duty that still remains unaddressed by him. Like the promises that he made way back in 2013-14, this too remains utterly neglected and unaccomplished, unvalidated. May he succeed in proving that his intuition was indeed right and it was not a case of delusion. And may he have very special spiritual divine guidance in undertaking and completing successfully this tremendous historic task. History beckons Modi, the Prime Minister of India. Will he be found up to the mark or will he be found wanting? May he be found more than up to the mark. May he be blessed and may he prove a blessing to India. But he will prove a blessing to India only if he commits himself firmly and fiercely to fulfilling the implications of his inner intuition that he is a special agent of the Paramatma sent to transform India into a nation of righteousness. All the very best. Jai Hind.